What's the stupidest excuse you have ever heard? Very relevant in some US states this morning. This one guy would show up to work an hour late after the daylight savings time change. Asterisk asterisk he claimed he forgot to change his clocks at home for DST. Asterisk asterisk but he would use that excuse whether we moved the clock forward or backward. If he was telling the truth, he'd be an hour early to work once a year. But no, he was an hour late twice a year. He can claim that he got confused and no one can really question it. I can't come in today, I just found out my two dads are gay. Understood. Take the rest of the gay off. I meant, I'm a teacher and I just got this one like 5 minutes ago. An amp, #X200BT, why isn't your homework done? An amp, #X200BS, I didn't have a pencil. An amp, #X200BT, over the whole weekend. An amp, #X200BF, yeah, T, like you don't have them in your home. S, no we have them monsieur, I just didn't get one. Probably my son. While in the middle of the SAT test, some kid got up and started walking to the door. The testing proctor asked what he was doing, and he declared that someone had farted and he was now unable to concentrate. The proctor glared at him and said nothing, and the kid left. Perhaps it was the environment, but no one even laughed. That's hilarious, ha ha ha. It was we had this teacher in year 10 who was a complete hardis. I was late for a few of his classes and he told me that if I was late again he would give me a detention and call my parents. Well, I was late again. He asked me if I had a good reason and I just blurted out the first thing that came to mind. I couldn't find my pants. Quote, he was so taken aback he didn't give me a detention or mention it to my parents. He spent a good 10 minutes roasting me though. Edit, thank you for the silver kind stranger. That, sir, is not the worst excuse. That is the best excuse, because it worked. A guy at a bar wanted us to buy him a drink because he was unemployed. We probed about why he has no job and he said he lacked confidence. I said, you seem to have plenty of confidence asking strangers for free stuff. Employer, so, what's your best trait? That guy, my confidence. Employer, great. And your work? That guy, my confidence. Employer, I'm sorry, what? I used to play in a band where the drummer always came up with ridiculous excuses to skip rehearsal. The best one was, my wife was having a breakdown because of the anesthesia while getting her belly pierced. What? Be nice, drummers are special, and always have a controlling so. Can confirm, it's illegal for anyone else than a doctor to give out anesthesia. At least in Germany, where this happened. Elementary school. Kid didn't like sleepovers. That's fine. But instead of just saying, I'm okay, he would tell us, our parents he cannot come because his grandma died. He went through 6 grandma. Hey now. For all you know that kid could be the result of 2 parents with 3 pairs of step-parents. Or maybe lesbian step-grandparents. Don't be so judgmental. B. My great-nephew has 9 grandparents. When they all start dying off, no one's ever going to believe. Hi monsieur. I work with addicts and alcoholics. We give them drug tests and I've heard a ton of excuses why they are positive on a drug test. My favorite would have to be a woman who was a meth user. I ask her why she was positive and she denied it could have been positive because she hasn't used. I always ask for an explanation if they deny to see if I can catch them lying. She asks me, so what if I had unprotected sex with my boyfriend, cause he still uses? Of course. You can't test positive like this. But my mental image will always be a man fun dipping his penis into meth and then proceeding to have intercourse. And GT. A man fun dipping his penis into meth and then proceeding to have intercourse. Kids these days having all that crazy sex. IDKY, but it made me think of that Chappelle bit, sorry officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that. During San Francisco Fleet Week, I had an employee refuse to come to work because there was a Russian ship parked in the bay. She was absolutely convinced that the ship was here to nuke us. Even if it did, staying at home wouldn't help unless she lived deep inside of a mountain. Joking aside, could you actually survive a nuke if you lived in a mountain? Girl, I can't fart. I was born without a bladder. Me, you really shouldn't be ditching school right now. Proceed to get baked and make fun of Megan. I really liked this story. It was incredibly easy to digest and it had all of my favorite elements. I'm sure Megan would be delighted to know you enjoyed this. I can't take all the credit. Every semester a bunch of students want to fuck off a couple days before the official holiday starts. Half of these motherfuckers say that their grandmother died. No one ever says their grandfather died. I am gonna have to start requesting a photo of the body. Copy of the obituary should do. How would you know it's actually their relation? People usually only have the same last name as half their grandparents. It's not cheating because I was in a different town. It's still cheating, you fucking harlot. I've heard the saying, doesn't count if it's in a different zip code, before. The implication is obviously that it's harder to get caught that way. She probably heard it and thought it actually meant it was okay. Lol, this is a perfectly common boundary, Jim. I can't do my homework, I think I have osteoporosis. I was so high I fell asleep and didn't wake up for 3 days. Kid I worked with quit because he said his mom got hit by a car and he wouldn't have a ride to work anymore. The next day we saw his mom driving him right past our work. She just regenerates like Wolverine. Had a housekeeper at a resort hotel who couldn't be on time for her shifts if it meant saving her own life. This one lady had a regular habit of sauntering on into the office 20 or 30 minutes late seemingly every other day, uncombed hair, looking hungover, and always reeking of cigarettes. Her excuse for such frequent tardiness: I'm a smoker, I need more time for my morning cigarette. I smoked a pack and a half a day for 2 years, so I call bullshit. This woman had a short commute from a few blocks away, her own shitbox on wheels for a car, and no kids, so therefore no reason why she couldn't have a smoke en route. Also, at least half the other housekeepers are also smokers and they still showed up on time for their shifts. Maybe she had something else going on. I suspect a drinking problem or untreated depression, but what a dumb excuse for a smoker to make to another smoker who works among even more smokers. Sorry, I can't come to work today. I tried to flush my toilet with my foot, I missed and stepped in the bowl. My shoe is covered in feces. It's my only shoes so I can't come in. And GT, my shoe is covered in feces. What a shitty excuse. I've given some stupid ones due to bad mental health. Especially if whatever was wrong coincided with something else like a loved one being sick or whatever. I once just stood up in class at university and said, sorry, I need to go, I'm not right. Which just sounds ridiculous and stupid, but was technically the truth. And I just couldn't find a way to say what was wrong with me. I've also just used I just can't recently. They were owed an explanation but I just couldn't put one together. Hey, friend. Know what? Sometimes it just can't be described. At least you have a legit excuse. Not like that girl who said cheating doesn't count if you're in another town. Lady I worked came up with several of them this year. When she didn't show up on time, we would all wait eagerly to hear the call and what her excuse today would be. Here's a few that stick out to me. Sorry, gonna be a few hours late today, my cat threw up. Sorry, gonna have to miss work today, my basement is musty and I sprayed Lysol down there. Sorry, gonna be very late today, I left my windows open last night and have to close them all. She was an odd one. I can't do that, I have to play with my birds for 3 hours. Well, I might do other things. Admittedly, this was an excuse I made, but it still applies. I didn't think I had to come to work because it snowed. I'm sorry, but the inch of snow we got doesn't stop your job from happening. It depends on the state. So back in the early to mid-90s, a very close friend of my family's worked as an admin assistant at one of those late-night soft-core porn channels that ran on basic cable. She said a lot of the movies they'd run were filmed right there on their sets. And one day, one of the actresses just didn't show up for her shoot. She came in the next day, and my friend was present in the room when they were yelling at her about why she wasn't at filming the day before. Her response was that she had come down with a bout of breast cancer. Seeing that no one in the room really believed her, she quickly added, "I'm fine now, it went away. Sorry I can't come. I need to send this letter to a friend because her computer is broken and the post office is really busy. Facepalm, just tell me you're ditching me to have sex with your boyfriend SMH. When I worked on the drilling rigs we had a derrick hand that couldn't keep his nose out of the Libyan marching powder and the electric lettuce. One day, to throw the fear of God into us, they brought out the mobile piss test lab. If you don't know piss tests, they test for the drugs but also for temperature so they know if it's fresh or not. Being up the stick at the time the wagon came on site, the derrick hand had no time to prepare his whiz kit, which involved putting the synthetic pee in a bag with a couple stick-on heating pads to bring it to body temp just before donating it. He figured he'd give her a go anyways. So he pretended to piss in the sample cup, and when he gave it to the lady she took the temp and it was around 60 degrees F. She said, "Can you explain why this sample is so cold?" And he said, "Yes, I just drank a Slurpee on the way over here." I almost died laughing.